So this week on your Jason and Iyare at Large podcast, we'll be talking about
dodgy cake
and
dodgy girls.
Yes, indeed.
What up, this Jay-Z kicking it with Jason and Iyare.
You're listening to Jason and Iyare.
Welcome to another Jason and Iyare at Large podcast. Thank you for joining us. Now, if you like listening to the podcast, then there are several ways that you can get involved. Obviously, you can send us an email. But listen, if you get a chance, go on iTunes and leave a comment about the podcast. We'd really appreciate it, even if you don't really like the podcast.
Do you know what I mean? If you think it's a little bit rubbish or we're not funny or we're a pair of twits, do you know what I mean? Say it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying, you know, we're going to hunt you down and axe murder you, but we might.
Yeah, I will make no promises that we won't do that.
Yep.
But hey, feel free to say whatever you like. Also, you can check out the podcast. There's a visual version of the podcast with added pictures for added hilarity, and you can check that out via YouTube. And if you don't fancy downloading it and you just want to listen to it, you can do that anytime you like via MySpace. You can find it on our MySpace page, which is available right now, myspace.com/Jason and Iyare.
There you go, man. All right, so listen, a couple of stories that we found this week. This one literally just jumped out of me, and I'm like, this is quite amazing, quite disgusting, but we're going to let you know. If you live in Cardiff and you like yourself a bit of chocolate cake, be very aware, all right? So they're handing out fines for people that mess around with food.
And so they should be. I'm really, really happy to hear that there are consequences for this sort of thing.
Chocolate cake, so you know the colour of chocolate cake, very similar to the colour of, let me just get into it, poo. Basically, two geezers thought it'd be really funny to sprinkle human poo on top of chocolate cakes and get people to have them.
Somebody's gone in and bought some chocolate cake thinking,
nice.
chocolate cake, all right? And then had a bite and thought, this doesn't smell or taste quite right. Now, and this is where I have to say, big up to you, sir.
Yes.
Because that person didn't go, just throw it away.
That's right.
No. They pursued it to the nth degree. They took their 99 pence piece of chocolate cake and sent it away for analysis.
Send it to the lab.
All right, now, I don't know where that lab is or how you do that, but I wish I did.
Do you know what? I kind of wanted to be the person to send it off to the lab, but to be that person, you had to be the person that bit it and smelled it.
A mouthful of shit, basically, right? But I'm glad, I'm glad you went through. I'm not glad that you had to eat basic poo. Sorry, but I'm glad that in the wake of eating that, you didn't just take it. You actually did something about it. Sent it away for analysis. And what happened was they came back. They went to the shop and said, "Oi, you lot put poo on your cake. Yeah, we're fining you." How much of a fine do you get for putting poo on cake?
Well, they only got 1,500 quid fine.
Yeah, but they also lost their shop. Their shop is now under new management.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? They lost their livelihood and they had to pay out 1,500 quid. Not nearly enough, I don't think, but at least something happened.
Yeah, and applaud the person who sent it off for analysis. I mean, I think it's great.
For next week's podcast, what we've got to do is find out where you send dodgy food to be analysed, yeah? Because if you go into a restaurant and you go like, "Oh, man, I don't like this. This might be a bit dodgy." Or, you've had a bit of an argument with the waiter and you suspect that they may have been messing with your food. It would just be nice to know where to send it to.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean? I mean, and how did he send the cake? Did he wrap it up in a little bit and put it in a box? Did he take it round there himself? I need these details. So if you make sure you listen next week, I'm going to find out what these details are so you know. So you can actually send your food off for analysis if you're unhappy with it. Especially if your mum's made you something and you're not entirely, sometimes it's a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes you have to shop your mum as well.
Exactly. Sometimes not every mum is trustworthy. Do you know what I mean? You got dodgy mums out there.
Yeah.
Not mine.
And certainly not mine.
But, probably, do you know what I mean?
Probably yours.
Yeah, you listening.
Yeah.
Especially if your name's Dave.
Yeah. Your mum's probably a bit dodgy. So good luck with that, and we'll let you know next week.
Oh, my God.
What's up, people? It's Miss Dynamite, chilling with my boys Jason and Iyare. Keep it locked.
All right. I'll tell you what's a really scary story.
Go on.
All right. You know how I love to talk about children, even though I haven't got any children?
Yes.
I've got lots of friends with children.
Yeah, me too.
Do you know what I mean? My mum's got children.
Right, okay, wicked. How many she got?
3.
Wow. Are they all right?
Well, one of them's really good. The other 2, they get ropier the younger they get. But you know what I mean? She did all right the first time.
Okay, fair dues.
All right, and the thing is, parents are worried that children today are more greedy and materialistic than any other previous generation of children. 9 out of 10 adults believe that excessive advertising has turned youngsters into grasping consumers. You know a lot of young little ankle biters, little rugrats. What are they like? Do you think they're greedy and hungry for stuff all the time?
Do you know what? They are, But what I've learned to do is to make sure they get to that greedy, hungry stage, and then just don't give them nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like a little teasing thing, so they get used to not having
Character building.
Character building. So you make them think they're gonna get it, and you go, you're not getting it.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you give them a little sank, and then they're that's all right.
Yeah.
But if you give them everything they want, then those ankle biters become into real leg biters, into thigh biters, into. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's.
And then we stop there.
Yeah, let's not get them any higher than that. All right.
Exactly.
But seriously, it's a real pity. Basically, advertising is damaging children.
Have you ever watched TV on a Saturday morning? Like, if you put on ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, in between every programme, oh my God, the toys.
Yeah, but worse than that, I like cartoons. You know, everybody know that I like comic books, I like cartoons, and I am often found, you know, I'll watch something like Samurai Jack late night on the Cartoon Network.
I got into that.
And the adverts in between, I mean, it's insane. You like 5 solid minutes of stuff telling, you know, adverts telling kids that you cannot live, you cannot survive as a child, without this, without a super squirter or Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh action figures. I mean, it's insane.
So stop it.
All right, so seriously, give the kids a chance. You know what I mean?
I mean, as a kid yourself, when you were a kid, those adverts, they were like masses of sweet chocolate in your mouth because they make you go mad. As soon as you see the advert, all you think is, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. It's like someone giving you sweets and chocolate and then all the mad H numbers and E numbers. Do you know what I mean? You just go mad. That's what happens when they see the adverts.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like getting all them E numbers in your system.
You're a little kid, you don't know any, but you can't process that information. You just see something, you want it. You know, like babies, you know what I mean? They see something, they put it in their mouth. Even if it's not food, they just grab it. The first thing they do is put it in that. It's an involuntary thing. It's not really the kid's fault.
Do you know what I'm going to do when I have kids? I'm going to make sure they have no toys,
Okay, well done.
I'm just going to give them books to read.
Books to read.
That is it. You're just going to get book upon book. And I always tease my nephew and my niece, like, that's what they're going to get for Christmas. I've not done it yet. But my own kids, they will become such bookworms. I'm going to give them book, newspaper, porno, I mean, anything just to read.
There's nothing more motivating, like if you're a little kid, and you know, you have to go to school and your trousers are swinging around your ankles, and you got them bastard trainers on, do you know what I'm saying? Right? And you ain't had a haircut for 6 months, right? You're going to get a paper round, you're going to do some chores or whatever, you're going to earn yourself some money and take yourself to the barbers.
Truly.
Take yourself down to the little local clothes shop and get yourself some trousers that fit properly. Take yourself down to the Foot Locker and get yourself your own trainers. I'm going to motivate my kids into being their own people.
Here.
Yeah. As opposed to like leeching off me.
Yeah,
I ain't got nothing for you.
Man.
All right? Get yourself a job.
Yo, this is Rhyme Fest. Jason and Iyare is in the house.
Can we move on? Can we talk about this girl?
Who's a complete nutcase.
All right, okay. She was obsessed with her ex, yeah? So she sent him nearly 11,000 text and phone messages in just 65 days.
You've got a big... That's got to be a Guinness Book of Records record.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
That's got to be close. I mean, you think about it, 11,000 texts in 65 days. That's a lot per day.
That's a lot of finger action, girlfriend.
Literally, she must have done nothing else but sleep and text this guy.
There's an interesting part of that story. I haven't read all of it, but there's an interesting part as you're reading it where she spoke, where they said that she went to his house and left a urine sample on his doorstep in a bottle and a pregnancy test. Because I think she believed that he's the father to her unborn baby.
No, but apparently she became pregnant by another man, and yet she averaged around one message every 8 minutes.
Wow.
Okay? So listen, if you're sitting at home thinking, my girlfriend's a pain in the ass,
she ain't.
Seriously,
unless she's this,
her, you know what I mean? All right? And what she did is also, she sent him a piece of glass that she used to cut herself. And made wrist-slashing gestures in front of him.
Wow.
She hung around.
You know when you're walking down the street and someone goes like that across their neck?
Yeah.
A Grace on podcast, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. When you get your hand, you go across your own neck or you go across your wrist.
Like I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, them ones.
But it's like, that's even worse because she said, I'm going to kill myself. Go on then. Do you know what I mean? Seriously. I've never had somebody get that obsessive about me, right? But if they did, I'd be going then.
Go on then.
You know
or you're just teasing. But
I wouldn't tease. Go on then. Because really, truth, you're a pain in my ass.
Is that credit to the guy because he's driven her so mad? I mean, either he's the Mr. Lover.
He was Mr. Bombastic.
Do you know what I mean?
He must have done something.
He must have had, I don't know, the stroke.
He must have had the lyrics, boy.
Can you imagine? Because look, he's driven her to that. What drives a girl to do that sort of madness?
I don't know, man.
That sort of madness. I mean, girls, what makes you do that kind of crazy shit? Stuff.
Listen, answers on a postcard, please.
Do you know what I mean?
So we can avoid it. Poor guy.
Can you imagine if he was still a girlfriend? He would be a glutton for punishment, wouldn't he?
Yeah, no, man. You listen, seriously, there you got to kind of say, right, okay.
Enough's enough now, girlfriend.
See you later, love.
Yeah, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
Send
Totally.
her some poo cake.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you know what? I'm not sure if there are any more stories that are worth talking about this week, right?
Yeah.
What I will do at this point, though, is remind everybody that, you know what? You can make a difference, right?
Woo.
You can help two poor young men just trying to make their way in the world have a better life.
Who,
right?
you and me? You
Yeah.
talking- Oh, okay, yeah.
And the way you can do that is
Yeah.
by getting involved. So listen, send us an email. You can do it to atlargepodcast@googlemail.com.
Yeah.
You can leave a comment at iTunes where you download the podcast from.
Yeah, please.
You can listen to our show on Radio 2 Tuesday nights 11:30. It's all about street music. It's called
Yeah.
The A to Z of Street Music.
Please.
You can visit our MySpace and listen to the new podcast there. It's available. Do you know what? You can help us out to have a better life, and we'll try